me introduce on the stage Damien Rizzi, who's the head of hospitality asset management for Egis, as well as Rashid, Aboobacker, director of portfolio asset management for Real Madinah. So today, the dynamic landscape of asset management in the region. As a quick introduction, throughout this session, we will discuss the ever-evolving asset management landscape, challenges and opportunities faced by asset managers who play a real critical role in adding value to all the assets, balancing owners, investors, and operators' expectations, and as well as all the desire from the brand without forgetting the customer. Can you hear me? So let's jump into it. Damien, and then Rashid. What are for you the key factors or trends currently driving changes in the hotel industry from an asset management point of view in the GCC region?
So obviously, this has been driven in the region by significant growth and opening. So what we see, at least ourselves from Egis, is a lot more involvement in the pre-opening stages than we used to. And this is, of course, when you see the amount of properties that are there to open, particularly in Saudi, but of course in other parts of the world. I would say that this is our main focus.
Okay, pre-opening a critical element when we look at how dynamic the market is, numbers of hotels coming up. Very, very interesting. Rashid, from your side, obviously with a little bit of a twist, working on a master development. So what's your take on the drivers of the changes?
Yeah, I think the changes in the market is definitely causing a change and triggering the change in the asset management practices. And that, to some extent, is caused by the change in the type of assets, right? The scale of assets, the complexity of assets that are under development, and new products are coming in, which were not in the market previously. Like, to give you some examples, branded residences. There were not much in Saudi Arabian context, but Dubai and UAE is much more developed market for that product. Wellness products, which were, we didn't have, pure wellness hotels in this part of the world, never in Saudi Arabia. So these new product typologies that's coming into the market is going to require new asset management, skill sets in the future. So the change in the mix of products is definitely changing the asset management landscape.
So it's much more multifaceted asset management rather than purely hotel asset management, and working on this entire complex, bringing value for the entire complex and investors. When we look at asset management, what value does the asset manager add at a different stage of the project, and how this involvement has changed to ensure that from a very early stage until pre-opening to the opening, what has changed in your day-to-day for both of you in your project?
Well, it's very much a life cycle management, all the way from the feasibility study, the search of partners. We were speaking earlier, you were mentioning operator, but this as well a distinction that we can make with a lot more franchises being done in the region. You are on the forefront of this. So this, of course, changes the dynamics, because instead of having 2 or 3 stakeholders at Atom, you can have a white label operator and a brand. So balancing all the acts changes quite a bit.
So you interact with much more stakeholders. You need to take into account a lot of different challenges and opportunities on each side, basically. It's completely different. It's just not a one-way with one managed hotel like before it was, basically.
It is.
Okay. And from your side, Rashid, with the complexity of the master plan development, from the infrastructure to the selection of the operator to managing the flow of future guests on those developments, what are the key challenges that you're facing, and how are you going to overcome them, most importantly now?
Yeah. It'll be, I think, if you look at it, it'll be fun, doing asset management for these sort of mega projects, especially if you look at, I'll talk about my project, and then we'll move on to other projects. So Royal Madinah is an integrated master plan. It's a smart city. So, looking at it from asset management perspective, the smart city allows you to operate the city on real-time basis, real-time data. You have much more control on. Let's talk about facilities management. The scheduled maintenance, predictive maintenance. You can track wastages pretty quickly. So it allows you to manage assets much more comprehensively and real time and with quick response, which will be a great tool for asset managers. I think that's one factor. And if you look at remote location projects, which on the Red Sea coast or others, you're looking at an ecosystem where everything is under your control. Transportation and all the infrastructure and everything is under your control. So I think asset management will definitely have to take a different level, and asset managers will have to upskill to sort of manage that level of complexity. But that's the direction we are going. A lot of the projects that you see are mega in size, integrated communities, and it will be a very interesting landscape.
So talking about those mega projects or giga projects, how do you nowadays leverage technology and embrace the growth of AI and Internet of Things? Because that's going to be an interesting part of everything that you do, right? Yes. You have a team, you need to build the knowledge, the know-how to address all the challenges and improve the performance. But technology will be critical. So how do you ensure that you take the right decisions now in order to improve the performance and have the return that is expected on those specific projects?
Yeah, so the example of the smart city concept is a very prime example, because we have thought about that right now when we had the detailed master plan and before we went into design. The use cases and solutions are still being developed, and that will go into design. But that infrastructure is already being laid out into the design, in the BIM modeling and the PMS solutions that they are developing. So that technology is already being embedded into the design. More solutions, like practical day-to-day things, like how you manage your food waste, or how you manage your energy, monitoring system, and cut the wastage of water, etc. These will be implemented in due course. But the strategy is already in place, and it's embedded into the infrastructure design.
Okay. So we understand clearly that there's a lot of touch points. It's a bit of a Swiss Army knife of the asset manager, given the scale of the project. And Damien, I want to touch on a quick point. You mentioned, Rashid, food waste. So we know sustainability and ESG is not only a buzzword, right? We need to do something. So at what stage do you think the asset manager should be involved to have a tangible impact and not just saying, I'm going to do something, but act on it, really?
As early as possible. I mean, if you can do it from the feasibility stage, from the feasibility study stage, you're able to implement all the ESG steps towards. So obviously, that goes into design, so we can speak about CapEx, and you're going to have some economies of scale that are there. But it's as well about green finance. You can obtain better financing while you get bonus or malus points according to how good you score in the sustainability front. And of course, OpEx. And then throughout the life cycle, if you consider ESG not only about environment, but as well about being better built, you're going to save as well on your future CapEx costs. So it's really, basically, the earlier, the better, including for innovation.
So sustainability for future performance, sustainability for preservation, that I understand. How do you ensure as an asset manager, because we talked about this at a very early stage, and for some people it's something quite far and they will not really understand what we want to do. So how do you ensure that you don't have a misalignment with the investors, owners' objectives and vision, and also the operator? It's all those different moving parts. So how do you make sure as an asset manager you're going to convince every stakeholder that this is the right decision at this moment to ensure that you're protecting their investment?
Well, I don't think now we can speak about is it the right decision or not. It is obviously the right decision, and the asset manager has to drive it throughout the stages. And too often there is like a mishap maybe in the life cycle of a hotel where the asset manager is perceived only on the business side of things. Well, actually, he has to be involved on the technical side of things as well by driving it. And like I said, you start by implementing the eventual added cost within your feasibility study. You know you get the benefits on the financial perspective or on the money that you are going to get. You support on the design stage, and then comes the question, of course, of the operator. How much are they willing to be on board? I suspect the answer is yes. But you need to make sure that at every step, this is done properly and not just greenwashing, as we have seen many times.
Okay.
If I may add, in the future, it might also impact how you finance the project, right? Because if the direction is what our colleagues in Hama were discussing earlier, this interesting chat, how ESG is the way forward, and if you are a developer who have international investments or who are looking for international investments to fund projects, this is going to be a criteria. So you need to keep that into your equation early on, because otherwise you will not get the funding as you require.
And it's as well a way of looking at it as return on investment. It's not only being good for the planet or for your image, it's as well how you're going to make money out of it by saving.
Rashid, if we look at the GCC countries are really pushing for economic diversification, tourism being one of the key focus, positioning themselves as global touristic destination, as we know, and you're in first place to work on this, right? What does it mean for the hotel asset manager when you're putting a bit more of this, I would say, commercial hire destination management hat? What do you have to look at to ensure that that destination will attract people and not just working on the hardware? Who do you interact with, and what are you doing on the day-to-day to ensure that the destination will be attractive to travelers as well?
Yeah, so in Rua Al Madinah project, what we are incorporating as part of the core pillars of the project is all the elements that lead the project to achieving the main vision, which is to enrich the visitor experience, right? So if you look at Madinah as a destination, it's a pilgrim-oriented destination, and the purpose of visitation is to come to visit the Masjid al-Nabawi and pray there, and usually visitors stay around 4 to 5 nights, sometimes up to 15 nights, depending on the season. So, but the offering right now is pretty average. Right? Owners have not been investing money into it. No upkeep of the property, no asset management. Just driving day-to-day performance. We are developing something which will set the standards. One of the so there is a lot of accommodation around, but there are no amenities, no good quality F&B around, no good quality retail in the existing stock that I'm talking about. We are changing all that. So our project is not just offering 47,000 hotel rooms, but there is a lot of thought behind what else do the guests need, right? Retail, F&B, civic amenities, government, offices and travel agencies, everything that travelers and residents around the area would require will be there in the development. So it's a holistic destination in that sense.
Okay, from a human capital perspective, maybe Damien, how do you ensure that you're recruiting the right talent, nurturing the right talent when it comes to asset management? You're touching on so many different points. So within your team, for example, within any team in asset management, what are the core capabilities that you're looking for the individuals to join a specific department?
That's a very good question. Maybe the first thing is that they need to have operational experience so that they can discuss and speak the same language as the operator, but maybe not too much so that I can think as an owner. Everybody has their own role, right? The operator has to be able to operate, and you don't want to have like a second operator on top of the operator. And sometimes you can see these kind of profiles. So this is something I would avoid. Obviously, we not only operational but technical, and this is what I touched upon earlier. And it's important to have quite a good understanding of the life cycle of an asset from a technical perspective, because in front of you, you speak to operators that have like an army of people that really understand this topic. And so it's really important, I think it's really important to have someone that can speak the same language, yet, again, in the interest of the owner. And it's an alignment. It always has to be a win-win situation, so people that need to be a bit diplomatic too.
Okay. Rashid, any take on the recruitment side?
Yeah, for me, so it's an interesting topic. We are in early stage development, right? So I'm less concerned about operations right now. And what I look for, the qualities I look for in asset manager right now is their ability to drive, to obviously understand strategy and develop strategies and understand the design process and contribute to it. Right? We don't have to design, but we need to make sure that the design and development is adhering to the strategy, the brief. So a little bit of technical skills, like good knowledge of area programs, financials, and knowledge of the design process. Right? These things are essential. Which unfortunately is hard to find. People with these skills, development skills, plus operational understanding. It's a rare breed.
So we clearly understand that, as you mentioned, both of you, the entire life cycle has to be taken into account. There is even more complexity coming in, different type of operating model. It's not anymore a one-way street, and we have to take into account sustainability, financial performance. So now let's talk about AI and all this. So how do you think you can convince operators, owners, investors, and how do you actually currently leverage AI to be more efficient and deliver the performance and the returns for the asset that you're asset managing?
Quite frankly, in what I do, I tend to work for individual owners, and they don't have the bandwidth or the willingness to do that. I suspect that on a portfolio level, when you manage that, you do it. We provide smart city services at very large scale, maybe more linked to what you will be doing, but for the moment, for all individual owners, we don't touch.
Which I understand, because you're not the only one. At individual level, there's very limited implementation on AI. Yeah. So Rashid, you're the one to answer that question.
Yeah.
Looking at 50,000 keys or so, how are you going to implement AI? Are you planning to implement AI in the day-to-day asset management function?
We are, but what are the specific use cases or the smart city solutions that we will be developing, which will be hinging on AI? I don't have that details anymore, but AI is and IoT is a part of all the resources that feeds into the system, which allows the smart city system to function better every day, right? So specific solutions, I don't have it. Earlier on, we had done some looked at some options where we were looking at AI for. I know, so that was IoT solutions. Sorry, for waste management, reduction of power wastage, water wastage, a number of solutions. But AI, we haven't developed the solutions yet. I know it's part of the overall smart city ecosystem that our teams are developing.
Okay.
But so you have to hold your breath.
Watch the space, basically,
yeah.
and see what you're going to. Okay. Well, AI is critical, but just try to wrap it up. Asset management is managing people as well, so AI will not help much more there. So it's going to be more about the efficiency, the sustainability, managing the large amount of data, but the value clearly will come from you to understand what's behind and how we have the right corrective actions and align, as you said, owners, investors, operators, and interest of all the stakeholders. So as we have just a few seconds left, final words for you, Damien and Rashid. The 3 most critical factors for successful implementation of AM practices. 3 words each. Can be 4, can be 2. It's up to you.
I think generally speaking, right, clear vision and brief from the client. You need to know what you're building as an asset owner. Secondly, you need to have a strong alignment with the operator. I mean, it's a 2-party in the marriage, and you need to be very well aligned with them. And third, I think from the experience of what's happening in the region, especially in Saudi Arabia, you need to plan for the risk elements, which generally people ignore, but these are the ones which cause project delays and a lot of cash bleed for a lot of developers. So yeah, that's the 3 I can.
That's
think
3
of.
sentences. 3 words, Damien.
Surprise.
So aligning stakeholders, it's not about you can win on your own. So obviously, being together, I'll maintain what I said earlier to have an ESG vision, because there is no way to go into the future without it. And last but not least, making sure why you invest. Is it what kind of value you want to create? You want like economical return, financial return, you want to have social return? Is it a trophy asset? Being very clear about what you want to do so that it doesn't impact your relationship with the others.
Okay. I think we are past 20 minutes, unless there is any question. No? No questions? There we go.